Hello, welcome to episode 149, the final part of the Superman motion picture anthology marathon series of me watching them and reviewing them. Superman Returns. This was made in 2006, and it was directed by Bryan Singer, I want to say, and it stars Brandon Routh as Superman. Now this is actually, it's quite a weird one because I just thought it was one of those, reboots, like Batman Begins, and I guess the Tim Burton Batman was a reboot from the original Batman series. Yeah, it is Bryan Singer who directed this. But this is actually a sequel to Superman and Superman 2. Well, it's an alternate sequel to Superman 1 and Superman 2. So it's kind of like, it basically forgets what happened in Superman 3 and Superman 4. Not that there was anything monumental going on there, but it kind of just carries on from Superman 2. In a way. And basically the story is that Superman has actually gone back to Krypton to kind of find out if it's still there or something, and he's been gone for like a long time, and he comes back, and Lois Lane is now married and has a child, and she actually wrote an article saying why we don't need Superman, so he's actually a bit hurt by that and stuff. Lex Luthor's in the picture, played by Kevin Spacey, who was brilliant, a bit more darker than Gene Hackman's portrayal of him, but at the same time still that kind of that humour and that personality that was really cool in the first four, or the ones that he was in, 1, 2 and 4. And one thing I really liked about this film was there was quite a few references to the first film. There's a bit where Superman saves this plane full of people, and then he turns around to him and he says, "I hope this doesn't put you off flying. Statistically, it's still the safest way to travel," which is an exact line from the first film, which is, I like that. I like those little references. There's also a bit where Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor is talking to Lois Lane, I think, and he was saying, my dad always said to me, if there's one thing people want, it's land. And again, just exactly the same thing that Lex Luthor says in the first film, when he's, which I didn't even mention in my review of the first film, that the main threat of that film was that Lex Luthor is, he wants to basically own the whole, I think it's either the West Coast or the East Coast, basically. I think it's the West Coast, maybe the East. The West Coast, I think. So he wants to own like the whole beach and stuff. Whereas in Superman Returns, he wants to basically own a whole continent of his own, which he is going to create, because he actually is clued into this crystal from Krypton that created the Fortress of Solitude in the first film. So I can't even remember how it happened now, but basically Lex Luthor gets hold of some of these crystals. Actually, he goes to the Fortress of Solitude and he finds the crystals, because he's been there before from Superman 1 and 2, and he gets the crystal, and it basically, this crystal, it creates just like, it's hard to explain what you call it. It creates land, but basically, you see all this actually, this is kind of like the crystals that kind of form the Fortress of Solitude. And Lex Luthor wants his own Fortress of Solitude, but he wants it to be as big as a continent and basically wipe out most of America and kill billions of people, so that he can actually own his own continent. So basically, cut a long story short, he does that, and it's this huge thing, and it's all dark crystals, which technically makes no sense really. Why would it not be the way that Superman's crystals were? But it fits with the kind of the darkness of Lex Luthor creating this continent. That's the thing I didn't like about this film was that Lois Lane is really young. She looks about 20 years younger than she was in the original films, and she's got a kid as well, and Brandon Routh seems quite young as Superman as well. But there are times when he really does look a bit like Christopher Reeve and act a bit like him, but at the same time has his own kind of deal going on as well. They also kind of resurrected Marlon Brando briefly for a scene in the Fortress of Solitude, which was really cool. And the climax of the film was pretty satisfying and pretty epic and enjoyable. A lot of people didn't like this film, from what I understand. I really enjoyed it. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. I think. I think it'll grow on me on repeat viewings. But yeah, I really like Brandon Routh as Superman. To be fair, he does seem a bit young, but he really pulled off the Clark Kent persona as well. Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, I didn't buy her that much really, just because she just seems so young. As a fact, while I'm here, I'll look up how old she actually is. Yeah, she's 29 now, so take away what, 6 years. That's she was 23 when they made that film. Actually 23 when it came out. She was probably 22 when they filmed it. So again, it seemed too young to me. They should have cast it a bit older, I think. Not to say that she was bad. I think she was pretty good. And we also find out something about you know, another kind of big moment in Superman's life, which I won't spoil. Which I won't spoil, because I thought that was pretty cool. And the ending actually gave me goosebumps, because he actually flew up into space, and he did the exact same thing Christopher Reeve did at the end of the first 4 Superman films, and kind of just flew off, the exact same shot. I thought that was really cool, and a nice tribute. And as it goes, it was actually in the credits of this film, it was said that the film was a tribute to Christopher Reeve and his wife, because Christopher Reeve Christopher Reeve died in 2004, 2005, and I think his wife also passed away about a year after him as well. Yeah, so they dedicated the film to them, which I thought was a real classy move. And the whole film felt like a bit of a tribute, actually, to the first film, with the little lines and stuff and the little things. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and that was the Superman marathon. And I'm not sure what I'm thinking about the new film, which will be out in 2013, Man of Steel. I'm sure it's going to be kind of like a reboot and moving away from what the Superman films have been about. But I really like this series of films, and I think Superman Returns fits in quite nicely. I mean, obviously it's, you know, like 20 years after, there's a 20-year gap between 4 and Superman Returns, but I think it fits within the same thing, and it's like a nice companion piece almost. So yeah, thanks for watching. That was the Superman series.